Hi, everyone. I have a great topic to talk to you about. How do you get your clients, your athletes, your patients, whatever you call them, how do you get them to stay motivated? How do you get them to stay compliant to what you're doing? And there's an easy answer on that. There has to be value that you bring to people. And a lot of times I hear clinicians say, well, they're just not doing their homework. They're not just doing their side. They're not doing their home exercises. They're not doing their home program. They're not doing their corrective exercises. And in reality, you have to look at, well, the problem is typically the relationship. One person values those things better than the other. And so when you're looking at your clients or patients, whoever you're working with, your athletes, they don't see the value in what you're telling them to do. So how do you change that? There's a few ways. You, one, have to be very firm about the consequences that are going to potentially happen if this doesn't get better. So a lot of times I'm very upfront with my clients, give them honesty, tell them the truth about what can happen and what, give them both sides of that spectrum. So if you do this, this is the potential outcome. If you don't, you have this outcome. Somewhere in the middle, we got to meet to be able to achieve that. It depends on how motivated, the value that you create, and just being honest. And if you're genuine about their timelines and everything that they do to achieve that goal, everyone's going to be on the same page. And if they don't, when they come in, then you have that conversation of, hey, listen, we talked about it. There's a spectrum. We can get you here. You can be here. If we continue to have this challenges, you're not doing your side, then we know that there's a value problem and maybe you don't see the benefit in it. Here's why. And I think that if you have that really harsh, firm talk right from the beginning, people then understand why you're doing it. Most of the time, they just believe you're a clinician giving them a paper of 10 to 20 exercises. And in reality, no one wants to do 20 exercises. So keep it simple. When you're creating a program, you're creating exercises, a routine, give them the pathway. This is where we're going to be going. Along that pathway, you're going to stray left to right and figure out, this is working, this is not working. Along that, I'm going to add little bits to make sure that you stay in line. And when they understand that the purpose of you giving them these things is so they kickstart that, then they realize there is a purpose to this. There's a greater mission. Once they understand that, then you can start to add little bits and pieces. Don't come harsh with a lot of the 5 to 10 exercises. Create the value with being honest. Give them bumpers. If you do this, we go this way. If you don't have progress, we're gonna go this way. And I think that alone gives people a reason to do what you're asking. Most of the time, it's an internal problem. If you continue to just assume that your authority and because you have a degree that they should listen, a lot of times they're not going to listen to that. The reason is because there's Google, there's YouTube, there's Instagram, there's all these platforms where they can find that exact same information. So what they want is for you to help guide them along the way, not just give them 10 exercises and say do it and come back, but really start off real slow, give them a couple things, give them boundaries so that they know what that pathway looks like. And at that point, there's created the relationship, you have value and being honest. And for me, that creates a great relationship between both of you guys or girls. And that gives you an opportunity to create value and have clients for life because you were genuine and you provided all their options and you gave them a pathway. Those tips nowadays will help people stay on that right path and not just come see you for a few sessions and they leave because you didn't bring them value. You didn't bring them value. And it's your delivery, it's everything that you do. So start with those small tidbits and work through what you're doing right or what you're not and make modifications. Just like you as a specialist or clinician or healthcare provider, that you make modifications during treatment, it's the same thing with those things that you're delivering and the way you're delivering it to them so they understand the message. And that's so key. If not, then you are simply somebody who didn't help them in their life. So I hope that helps. Leave any questions below. I'm happy to help. This is just from what I've seen. I work with a lot of healthcare providers. I see a lot of athletes who come and they give feedback, and these are the type of things that they say, like, it just didn't feel like they understood where I was going, and they didn't see that I wasn't doing it because it just didn't like make sense to me and what I wanted to do. So I hope those help. And thanks again for following, guys. Thanks.